Okay, what we're going to do now is zip up the center seat. But we can't do it the way we did the bow and stern. We just can't get it tight enough. We don't want to rely on the shrinking so much. So we're going to actually sew it together with a space in the middle like this and use the mechanical advantage of the thread to steal a little bit more later. So to get us lined up, I'm going to start somewhere here in the cockpit area where that's going to get cut out later. I'm going to make an imaginary line. I'm pulling across in this direction, across the boat and toward the bow slightly. And I'm going to make an imaginary line from the center of this deck stringer about 6 inches into the cockpit area. I'm going to pierce it. Then I'm going to release that, rest my hand, and I'm going to pull the opposite way on the other side of the piece. Now I'm going to make an imaginary line from this edge of the wood about 6 inches in. The idea is we're going to sew it off center along this seam. Later we're going to do a finishing stitch with a fold, and we want the crease down the middle. So we're actually going to squeeze the two pieces along the starboard edge of the boat. That's why we're always putting the knots on the port side of the boat. So I tied a big knot here, and it'll all be on the port. Everything will fold over to the port side and hide all the knots. So I'm going to pull. I'm going to project this line to here. I'm going to poke it. I'm going to relax. I'm going to pull in. And I'm going to draw the same line to the center and poke that. These don't have to be so accurate yet, but the idea is to start yarding it together to get a feel for the lay here. Just from that one stitch, you can see I already got it kind of going together here. I'm feeling good about everything. So again, center, relax, edge. The stitches are about a 1/2 inch apart. Starboard, center. Center, relax it, starboard. Each time I'm doing this, it's getting tighter and tighter. And this is a feel thing more than a calculated thing. You can't measure anything, you can't really draw lines. You just kind of have to feel it and feel the tension. Your test is to open up the center. It should be tight. As long as it's tight in the center, tight across the sides, you're doing good. If it's loose in the center, pull it together. If it's loose across here, pull harder across and take bigger bites. Starboard, center. Each time I'm doing this, I'm leaving a space in the center about 3/4 to 5/8 wide, and I'm going to use the mechanical advantage to steal even more. None of these count yet because we don't see them. They'll get cut out later when we put in the cockpit combing. If you're doing a Greenland kayak, you don't have this center deck stringer in here. So what you do is you slip a little batten, like a piece of ripstock in there, so you have something to follow. And when you get to the end, you're going to slide it out and get rid of it. Now that I'm on the wood, life gets a lot easier. Things are tight, they're organized. Okay, and now I have a defined line to follow. I don't have to draw one, there's one there already. I'm pulling harder than it looks, pulling still in this direction, across and toward the bow a little bit. The idea is get all the fluff to fall off the small part of the boat. You don't want to sew from the ends to the center because you pull all the fluff in the middle and you'll have to get rid of it later. The center, relax it, stage it on the edge. Now if you're left-handed, simply stand on the other side of the boat. Other thing that I'm doing here that you're probably not picking up is after I finish my stitch on the port side, I'm pointing the thread toward the bow and I'm giving a quick snap, eliminating static friction. You see how that comes together? Center. Center, starboard. I'll test my work. I'll grab the port side of the piece and I'll pull up. And I'm going to pull hard and I make sure that doesn't move. In other words, this doesn't get tighter. And it doesn't. I'm going to pull the starboard side, do the same test. It doesn't move. Look in the center, it all should be tight, which it is. So pull port side, then you have to pull harder and take bigger bites. If I'm able to pull the starboard, same thing. Both sides, take bigger bites. You might even want to take your work out and do it again. Now it's going to take about 10 or 15 minutes for you to get the feel for this. It's normal.